It's the Yoba series.
Yoba, what's up and what's happening? And today I'm going to be talking to you about the gut biome. I'm going to be breaking down for you why it's important to eat healthier foods and how to avoid crucial mistakes. We're also going to be looking at poor choices of food and how this can affect your gut bacteria and also your overall well-being. So if you want to improve your health, your gut bacteria, and also learn more about your gut biome, then stay tuned. Okay, play the intro. Come on. Question: what is the gut microbiome and why does the fitness industry and also the medical industry keep banging on about it? The gut microbiome is a dense and complex community of microorganisms. Your biome is found all over your body and is actually found in your mouth, inside your stomach, inside your gut, and also in your colon, as well as on the outside of your skin. Your biome is microorganisms inside your gut make up between 30 and 50% of your overall fecal density, which basically means that when you go for a shit, a lot of it is made up of these microorganisms. As you can imagine, the bacteria that is found in your gut is not the same species of bacteria that are present in your mouth or on the outside of your skin, but overall are a pool of healthy bacteria that play a major role in helping to protect and nurture your body. Question: who did the gut microbes come from and how is the gut biome created? The gut biome, or your healthy gut bacteria, is actually formed at birth. A newborn baby will be an absolute haven for bacteria to be able to develop and thrive. So you need to be able to think of the biome that you have actually starts with you from birth. Therefore, if you look after your gut biome throughout your life, there is no reason why you won't have a healthy constitution of gut bacteria as you continue throughout your life. However, a newborn baby won't be born with all of the gut bacteria that it needs. A newborn baby actually has to be able to develop a gut bacteria all on its own. The way that it does that is by consuming different types of foods, and it also will develop a very strong gut bacteria by coming into contact with different things within the baby's outside environment. So basically, your microbiome acts like a protective bubble and actually protects your body from the outer world, where the body can come into contact with different things within the environment that it's in. The biome is a filtration system that filters food that you eat, drink, and also consume. The chemicals that you are coming into contact with also exist within this environment. The health of your gut biome enables your body and immune system to function under these outside conditions. Your gut biome isn't necessarily something that is just a filter for the outside environment. It also instructs your Mendelian genes, which are the genes that you get from your mum and dad, directing signals and also how the genetic expressions to be able to cope with these changes. So basically, your gut biome isn't necessarily just a filtration system for the things that the body comes into contact with or the things that the body has to deal with within its environment, such as different types of stresses. Your gut biome also instructs your Mendelian genes, which are the genes that are inherited from your ancestry or from your mother and your father. By doing this, the gut biome can direct signals and also help the genetic expressions to be able to cope with the changes and different environments and foods that the individual eats. So the gut microbiome is so powerful that basically it helps to direct signals and also helps gene expression to be able to cope with the changes in the different environments that the body comes in contact with and also the foods that an individual eats. So not only is your gut biome like a filter for the outside environment that the body is placed within, but it's also there to be able to help filtrate food and drink that is consumed by the individual. It also helps to be able to navigate the body through daily environmental stresses. Question: what are the differences in your biome compared to someone else's? It's a great question, Chris. On the whole, there is still a large amount of research to be done on the gut microbiome and the effects that it can have on us as individuals. The subject of the gut microbiome is still largely unknown. And research is constantly throwing up new ideas and theories into how this organism could not only help us, but possibly protect us from diseases and things that might be harmful to our well-being. What is becoming rapidly clear is the fact that those individuals who choose a poorer diet that's filled with artificial preservatives such as ready meals and convenience junk food, compared to those who choose to eat a healthier, more balanced diet, have proven to show a healthier and more active gut biome. It's even thought that environmental factors can have a change in the biome, such as industrial cities or people who live in industrial cities, more pollution, or even those who are exposed to more medication treatments, such as antibiotics. These may be the cause of the biome working less effectively and could possibly be contributing to human metabolic disorders and diseases that are inflammatory or autoimmune based. So the gut biome is very much something that is responsive to how the individual decides to treat it. If you are an individual who, for example, lives in a city, you are going to come into contact with a lot more external environmental pollution. This will have an effect on your gut biome, and by it having an effect on your gut biome will pass through to having an effect on your genetic makeup and also your immune system. Therefore, it is incredibly important that you do get outside, that you breathe fresh air, you take up fitness, and you also address some portion of your food intake and the choices of nutrient-dense food that you decide to eat. This lack in having a weakened biome leads to a poorer immune system, and also the gut-to-brain barrier, which is supported by the gut microbes and then is transferred through into the bloodstream, is basically lessened. If the gut biome is damaged too extensively, then it is becoming much clearer that associated diseases can occur when the gut biome is damaged. These can be diseases such as cancer, mental illnesses and disorders, allergies and sensitivity to certain foods or chemicals that are often present in our air. Even obesity is now linked to a poor gut biome, and we are beginning to see more and more obesity levels within our children. Obesity is also then leading to inflammatory or autoimmune diseases and giving us a greater overall risk of developing metabolic disorders in adulthood. So the differences between each other is the fact that we need to be able to look after our gut biome. Obviously, for each individual person, that can be quite difficult. If you're someone who lives in a more rural area, it's obvious that you're going to be available to more cleaner and fresher air. Someone who lives in industrialized cities is going to have, unfortunately, more polluted air. So it is up to the individual to take that action and make sure that you try your best to be able to consume decent food, or at least food that is more nutrient dense, and try to live a slightly healthier lifestyle. One really great thing that you can do is actually fill your home with plants because plants are able to absorb more carbon dioxide, and actually give out more oxygen. So your more oxygenated air at home can actually be a great way to have a natural filtration system within the rooms that you live in. Question: how does gut health affect me? And what does my gut biome actually do? The gut biome is responsible for keeping you healthy. It is a major contributor to the function and well-being of your immune system, and also obviously plays a huge part in your gut to brain and brain to gut connection. What do I mean by gut-brain connection? Well, when you choose to eat more nutrient-rich foods, this has an effect on your gut biome, which makes it more versatile. One of the major functions that the gut-to-brain connection has is the fact that the gut sends signals to the brain, and the brain also sends signals back to the gut, and is a major transportation system for your hormones. Therefore, without a healthy gut biome, you're not necessarily getting the hormonal dispense that you need or that your brain needs to remain healthy and have a healthy equilibrium, which again is related to people's mental health and mental well-being. This basically means that when your brain is looking for that dopamine to help you strive towards your goals, your brain is asking for dopamine. Yes, the brain can produce hormones on its own, but did you know that the hormone dopamine is produced mainly by the microbiome, actually up to 95%. So again, the gut bacteria needs you to make better choices, so stop eating shit. So as well as addressing a poor diet, other things that you need to look out for are things such as antibiotics. Antibiotics are great at killing off infections, but they are also great at killing off all bacteria. So if you are on a course of antibiotics, please also be aware that after you have taken antibiotics, that you may want to consider taking probiotics after your antibiotic course is finished. This will help reconstitutionalize your good gut bacteria. Stress is also another factor that impacts your gut bacteria and also your immune health. Your central nervous system, or CNS, is responsible for coping with the environment that is around you. At all times, your CNS is coping and dealing with different stresses that come from the external environment, and stress, anxiety, and worry are also factors that play into an individual's life. Exercise and learning to share one's emotions and feelings is a good way to start to relieve anxiety and stress that can, if not dealt with properly, have massive consequences and impact on your biome. So stay calm and just chill the fuck out. Question: can I prove that it's worth changing your diet for a better gut biome? So here's something that might blow your mind and make you think twice when you're reaching for your food. There are two types of genes that are important to know. The first are your genetics. These are passed down to you by your ancestry, your parents, and also your grandparents. These genes are called Mendelian genes. Mendelian genes refer to certain types of inheritance patterns. These are found as traits that are passed from parents to offspring. These are the genes that we are most familiar with within society. This is because they have been discovered for well over a century and are widely known throughout society. The second, less common genetic types are microbial genetics. Microbial genetics provides powerful tools for deciphering the regulation, as well as the functional and the pathway organization of cellular processes. So the gut microbiome and the habitat that the gut microbiome lives in are there also as a genetic pool for the body to be able to create and express hormones via the bloodstream. What does this mean for you? It basically means that Mendelian genes are fixed. They are inherited genetic traits that you can't change. So if you're like really ugly, then there is nothing that you can do about it. Sorry. Joking. It means that basically they're not going to change. But microbes are able to change their behavior from the environment they're placed in. Their behavior can also change from the nutrients that they receive and the habits that are created to either survive or thrive, or to not be well looked after. However, if the gut microbiome is not well looked after, then what's more than likely to happen is that these genes of the gut microbiome are going to switch off, or they're going to be lost to the community, if you like, the community of the gut biome. And it looks like the choice is completely up to you. Whatever you decide to do with your gut health, your choices will have a massive effect and impact on your well-being. And even if you are someone who suffers with one of these metabolic diseases, the choices that you continue to make with the food that you eat and the environment in which you live in and the way that you try to keep your body healthy will continue to inflame these metabolic diseases. What does this mean for you? Well, this really depends on you and what you want to do in your life. I don't mean to sound like a life coach, but this really is about your life's choices. My one question that I would ask myself is, if I were in a transient position, then my first question would be, how do I feel? And I know that that's a really boring and straightforward question, but if you think about it, how do I feel actually makes you think about your position in life and where you want to go from here. After asking that question, how do I feel? You may begin to want to think, am I overweight? And does that have an effect on my well-being or my lifestyle? Am I worried about my health? Or would I like to get fitter? Do I feel overwhelmed or anxious or even too stressed out? And how would I be able to fix and improve those feelings and emotions? So if I feel lethargic or lower in myself, am I active enough? And do I need to move more? Do I feel overwhelmed or overthink my health? Is it on my mind a lot, or has it been on my mind a lot lately? Now, maybe they are perhaps some quite negative questions that you're going to ask yourself there. And hopefully the answers aren't necessarily quite as bad. But if you did answer yes, or perhaps maybe to those examples of questions that are just given to you, then I personally would contemplate the possibility that I may need to change my diet, my lifestyle, and also my exercises so that I eventually turn a corner in my lifestyle, my habits, and also to furthermore improve my well-being. Question: how do I impact my gut microbiome? So I want you to think or imagine your gut bacteria as a community that is trying to thrive and survive inside your body. And majority of that bacteria is obviously found within the gut, but can also be found in other areas of the body, such as the mouth, and also on the outside of the body, on the skin. And like any community that is trying to thrive, it needs sustainable materials to be able to feed itself. Therefore, it is able to survive. And the biome is no different in the fact that it's trying to thrive and develop good bacteria for functions that can affect your body in a positive way. So if you adhere to a completely shit diet and consume shit, unnatural processed foods, it doesn't exactly take Sherlock Holmes to start to figure out that the gut biome is not necessarily being fed, can't thrive, and it can't survive and it can't be the community that it actually wants to be. So overall, what you decide to put inside your mouth is going to be one of the biggest things that is going to affect the growth of your gut biome. Now, a lot of these highly processed foods tend to be very high in the glycemic index. And if you don't know what the glycemic index is, then you need to go and do some homework. The glycemic index contains foods such as sweets, cakes, ready meals, most packaged meals, white breads and pastas, among other contributing and overall higher glycemic amounts per day compared to someone who has a more fibrous diet. White bread and pastas, among other processed foods. These highly processed foods are contributing to an overall higher glycemic intake per day. Now, if you compare this to someone who has a more fibrous diet with proteins and fats that are found within more healthy or nutritious foods, that's going to have a major impact on the gut biome. And so the people who choose to eat more processed foods are not going to have such a dense community. Their biome or their community is not going to be as healthy. Whereas someone who decides to take a healthier look upon their lifestyle, the environment in which they live in, the chemicals that they come into contact with, the food that they choose to eat, the drink that they choose to consume, these individuals are going to have a much healthier gut biome. Therefore, they're going to have a much healthier immune system. Therefore, they are going to have a much healthier genetic balance. However, by making some small changes in your diet, such as having more varied foods within your diet and learning to structure your meals better, learning to use less processed foods and turning to more fibrous carbohydrates and fermented foods such as natural yogurt and kefir, you're going to help support your gut biome. And obviously, this in turn will help support your well-being and your overall general health. Some ways you can improve your biome is through keto dieting and also intermittent fasting. These dietary plans are good for a number of reasons. They help the individual adhere to the plan and not diverse away from the diet. Other diets often require a lot more energy and effort to stick to, when more rules have to be applied. Another important factor in using these diets is that they promote healthy eating because of the nature of their structure. What I mean is, take ketogenic diets, for example. If you follow a keto diet to plan, you're swapping foods such as processed foods that are high in refined carbohydrates and sugar with little to no macronutrients. So instead of these macronutrient sparse foods, we're actually swapping for the lower glycemic foods that are higher in fiber and more dense in macronutrients such as vitamins, minerals, and trace elements. So basically, switching from eating crap to eating, well, normal food, like food for humans, you're obviously going to improve your overall health.
If you go to a restaurant and you decide to eat whatever you want on the menu, it's not as if your microbiome is suddenly just gonna drop dead, as if it's been attacked by some sort of angry bear. Angry bear. Strange analogy. What I mean is, you're not going to be struck down by lightning just because you decided to eat a carbohydrate-rich meal. The decision to eat less processed food is a lifestyle choice and something that you are going to prescribe to for the rest of your life for your overall health and well-being. Not only is it important to eat better to be able to support your microbiome, not only is it important to eat to support your microbiome with better food sources and quality foods, but it is also incredibly important to eat better to help prevent metabolic diseases such as diabetes and inflammatory diseases from forming. Question: do I have to go on a detox or a basic fasting stage to help kickstart my gut microbiome? No. You don't need to go on a fasting 3-day bender or even a 1-week fasting bender or even a 1-month fasting bender, as you may well die. Kidding. But you will need to start somewhere, and here is where that start is. If you can be honest with yourself for just a moment and think about the food that you currently eat, what you need to understand is that the microbiome that you currently have active inside your gut isn't necessarily going to be able to process new foods such as high fermented food or food that is high in fiber. What does that actually mean? Well, what it means is that inside your gut at the moment, there are bacteria that may not necessarily actually survive or thrive in your gut that is ready to be able to do the job of digesting foods that are high in fermented foods and foods that are also fibrous. High fermented foods and fibrous foods are going to be the types of foods that are going to help promote a healthy gut bacteria. However, if you have a poor or relatively poor diet, that actual gut bacteria isn't going to be there to be able to break down food that you need to be able to digest. So my advice would be is to take things slow. So if you think for a minute, if you haven't been eating enough fibrous foods, then your gut bacteria won't be ready for an Armageddon meal of salad or stir fry just yet. It takes time for your gut bacteria to develop the ability to use fibrous foods to your advantage. So in actuality, you should start to slowly increase your level of fibrous foods and nutrient-dense meals so that your gut bacteria can absorb and use it to benefit you. So when trying to drastically change your gut biome for the better, please just take your time and consider foods that will help your gut bacteria, but give yourself between 4 to 6 months before you can expect to see some decent results. So basically, if you have chosen to live off white or even beige foods, it's going to take some time for your gut bacteria to be able to develop the right type of new bacteria that it takes to be able to digest fibrous and also fermented foods. So take your time. Now, other than fibrous foods, your gut bacteria thrive really well when it comes to eating fermented foods. And these fermented foods can be natural Greek yogurt, kefir, butter, cheese. Like I said, you don't need to jump on the bandwagon and start devouring these foods as fast as possible. I mean, if you drank all that kefir, you'd make yourself sick. But if you do choose to start to introduce these foods, if you haven't done already, these foods eventually are going to train your gut bacteria to be strong, healthy, and overall repay you in having a much healthier equilibrium and sense of well-being. Not only that, but promoting a stronger gut microbiome is also going to lead to a much stronger immune system. So get your gut back into shape and start building up resilient immune systems. Strong immunity will help support you throughout your life. Also, fighting against those nasty pathogens along the way. You don't want any pathogens, they'll probably kill you. So guys, as always, I hope you liked this video. Please press the subscribe button and subscribe to my channel. If you would like to know more about your gut biome or any topic that's related to your health, then please make a comment below. Be gut healthy, be strong, and of course, be a boss bear.
It's the Yo